Hello and welcome to Top Plays. I am your host, Blue from KantoCast, and this is the series where we take you inside some of the best plays from the weeks of the GBA Season 5. This week we have some great plays to go over, and although they weren't all game changers, they were still solid in terms of timing and entertainment. So, without further delay, let's get to the plays. This week we have a sort of honorary play at number 6. Why number 6 play? Because Berry Exchange, that's why. I know you all caught the match between the Pyramitas and the Rampardos, and during the battle, Jellicent and Heracross found themselves squaring off against one another, each taking a super effective move from the other. This, of course, activated their Colbur and Koba berries, which weakened the super effective moves. Now, while this play isn't spectacular, it was terribly ironic, and I had to put it on the list for the sheer coincidence and ironic timing alone. Now then, on to the rest of the top 5. At number 5, we have a highlight on the Mankeys side of the Mankeys vs. Hawluchas match. While Rain Dance Milotic was clever, I have to say Custop Berry Healing Wish Jirachi was even more so. With Jirachi and Alakazam both knocking on death's door, the Mankeys realized Alakazam would be more useful than Jirachi. So, with Custop Berry activating, Jirachi is able to use Healing Wish before Starmie can pick up the KO. This allows the Mankeys to freely bring in Alakazam while getting all of its health back. Though the Mankeys would still lose this match, this play still demonstrates clever planning on the Mankeys' behalf. Don't worry guys, not all the top plays this week involve berries. Some of them include scarves, like this one. At number 4, we have the match between the Arcaniners versus the Seakings, and the clever play that's fun to say. Trick, Trap, Toxic Goth. Here the Arcaniners were running Scarfed Gothitelle with Trick. Finding itself in against Porygon 2, the Arcaniners go for Trick, which locked Porygon 2 into Toxic while simultaneously getting rid of its Eviolite. Gothitelle is able to fire off a big Psyshock next turn, and then switch out to preserve Gothitelle as Death Fodder, all the while neutralizing the wall that is Porygon 2 for the remainder of the match. Get ready to find your center, because at number 3, we have the Calm Mind Hidden Power Suicune from the Steel Wings vs. Pelipper's match. With Reuniclus not being able to do a whole lot against Suicune, Reuniclus switches out into Scizor as Suicune goes for a Calm Mind. Scizor Mega Evolves, not knowing the Suicune came prepared. Before Mega Scizor has a chance to do anything, Suicune shoots off a Hidden Power Fire and picks up the KO, taking out a huge threat on the Pelipper side. At the number 2 slot, we have Emboar continuing to prove its worth, and this was demonstrated by the Morel in their match against the Loudreds. During the battle, Emboar finds itself in against Weavile. The Morel, predicting the switch, decide to have Emboar go for the Grass Knot, and sure enough, in comes Gastrodon. The Loudreds ultimately have little choice but to let Gastrodon go down to the Grass Knot, which proved to be a 2-hit KO from the Emboar. An excellent display of planning by the Morel. And now for the number 1 top play this week. It's another play from the Hawluchas vs. Mankeys match, but this one is from the Hawluchas side. Now I know you guys aren't huge fans of 2 plays from the same match, but Heliolisk's Solar Power Sunsweep had to top the list this week. Here the Hawluchas knew it was time to Solar Power Sweep, which meant sacking off Mega Charizard Y. After doing so, Heliolisk was able to come in and get 3 boosted Hyper Voice KOs in order to take the match for the Hawluchas. The sheer power and perfect timing of the Solar Power Sunsweep Heliolisk is why the Hawluchas take the number 1 top play this week. Now finally for the results from last week's reigning top play poll. Entei proved too hot to handle for HP Ice Ambipom, and Caliente took the current reigning top play crown with a whopping 87% of the total votes. But now it's time to vote again. You choose. Will Entei cower in fear at Heliolisk's mighty Hyper Voice, or will Heliolisk dry up in the sun? You decide by voting in the Strawpoll in the description. And while you're down there, feel free to let us know what your top plays were for Week 5 in the comments section. But that's going to wrap up this week's top plays. I am KantoCastBlue, and I will catch you next week with more top plays from Season 5 of the GBA.